This is Uncouth Tangents. I'm your host, B.
And I'm your host, Dove.
And welcome to the show.
From a general standpoint,
Yeah.
I just don't think that he should be cloned. Anyway, this needs to get cut out because no one has a point of reference of who I'm saying
We're talking about,
as to who should not be cloned.
it was LL Cool J.
LL Cool J
Yeah.
should not be cloned?
Probably not.
Well, I mean, in general,
Because there's
I don't
the
think...
one and only.
Well, in general, I think most people should not be cloned.
Who do you think should be cloned?
No one.
Well,
And by
you said-
most people, I mean no one.
I was like, oh, there's a small segment of people.
Nope,
that I
you
figured.
get one shot, and if that shot doesn't work out, that's it for you. No cloning.
No cloning.
No, I just don't think no one is important enough to be cloned.
What if we could take a dead person and then clone them so that they can be back alive?
So they wouldn't be cloned and stay dead.
Yeah, like if we could clone, I don't know.
Clone dead.
Yeah, clone dead. Clone high? Yeah.
That's basically reanimating a corpse.
No. That's not reanimating a corpse.
No.
Well, in a certain sense,
I guess it depends on the method that you use. So
Yeah, I mean, they're not zombies or anything.
Well,
No, they're clones.
okay. So you're saying to take the DNA of a corpse
Yes.
and then create a fetus using that DNA and then have it grow up and it's going to, be the exact.
That's the
Clone
theory.
of-
If we can recreate also the lifestyle that person had so that they could be the exact same person.
Wow.
That's what they did on Batman Beyond.
Did they?
Yeah. Whoa. Spoiler alert.
I don't remember.
For a cartoon that's been out for like 10 plus years.
I don't remember that happening.
It was not revealed in the main line. It was revealed in the Justice League line.
Oh, okay.
If I can just nerd out for a quick second.
Sure, by all means.
So what had happened is Cadmus, like the company that was considered evil throughout the series, actually turned and became good because they realized that Batman was a force of good and he was one of the humans that they needed. So they basically took his blood because, as we all know, Batman bleeds everywhere. So they
All the
were
time.
like, also, he left, semen in places. Because
Oh.
why not?
Oh, okay. I never read those storylines.
Oh, yeah, those are the good ones. So, yeah.
Batman porn.
Oh, yeah.
Continue.
Just getting real.
Continue, please.
Just getting real dirty with the Joker, Anyways, so
I doubt it would be the Joker if Batman's getting dirty with anyone.
it's just revenge.
Anyway, revenge ejaculation? I mean, what?
Yeah. It's just like that scene in Silence of the Lambs. He just tosses it.
So gross. All right.
Anyways.
You can continue.
So what they had done is they cloned Batman, and they were going to essentially kill that kid's parents, but the killer kind of backed away and decided it was best not to kill the parents because they were like, yeah, to have another Batman, it's not worth to murder, that morality thing. But it ends up his parents died anyways, and that was Terry McGinnis.
Oh.
Yeah, so it
okay.
turns out that Terry McGinnis is a clone of Batman.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in the real world, we don't have
I don't
a
wanna be in the
Batman.
real
So
world. We actually did have a Batman, and he unfortunately died.
what do you mean?
He was some millionaire who dressed himself up like Batman and had a Batmobile, and he would go and visit kids at hospital centers and
Oh.
just as a charity event and everything. And I feel like that was actually really inspirational for a bunch of kids. It's usually for children with cancer or Make-A-Wish Foundation kind of things. Like he would dress up and do all these things. I met him. He's a really cool guy. He was at an event that I was filming for, and he was literally like the last person there. He made sure every kid got an autograph or whatever, including me. which I think is great because I was like, hell yeah, but I want to hang out with Batman.
It's fake Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Oh, so unfortunately, how he died was because he's driving a Batmobile and it looks kind of legit. It was matte black. So unfortunately, he had like a flat tire or something like that. And while he was getting it fixed and stuff, somebody didn't see his car and ran right into him. So.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Is that person now the Joker?
Uh-huh.
That was a bad joke. That was totally out of taste. But
yeah. How dare you?
Anyway.
R.I.P. Batman.
That does suck, though.
Yeah.
That does suck. How long ago was that?
That was like 3 years ago, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
2-3 years ago.
I never heard that story. But that's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's a lot of the stars, I guess, who portray these characters do end up, I guess, taking it upon themselves to do a very similar thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. I wouldn't clone any of them, but
you wouldn't clone Chris Pratt, the Star-Lord?
No, I wouldn't.
What about?
He's cool as he is.
I know, but like, what if we had two of them?
Well, sometimes.
Maybe that's why his marriage fell apart. Is that he couldn't be there for his kids if like one of them could be just the actor and the other one could be just the father.
Well, that's different.
let's multiplicity this.
Yeah.
And then like the third or fourth one just comes out and just.
That's different. Now, if you yourself need a clone to help you in your daily task, I don't know. I'm probably sounding very hypocritical at this point because the way that I imagined it at first when you said, like, who would I clone? It's like, like who's going to be beneficial to, the majority of people on the planet? No one. No one's going to be that person. However,
what if we had cloned just a bunch of Gandhis? Like an army of Gandhis.
I don't know. Something would just.
That sounds bad.
Something would just turn strange with that. It just will. But if you were to make a clone of yourself to, like help you with your daily task, I would totally have a clone of myself. I don't want anyone to see it though. I just want to like keep her locked up at home.
That's jacked up. I feel like
I would have to do all the home things.
I feel like I would have to let the clone out just to experience life. Like we would trade off. I feel
it depends. If my clone is, the exact same as I am.
Mm-hmm. Theoretically, yes.
Well, no mental disabilities. Like everything is the same. Because
I Dove.
Yeah. Exactly.
Dove is I. La 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 la.
I did taxes. Like, wait, no, what did you do?
Stop doing my taxes.
Right. So if she's exactly the same, then of course we trade off and she'd do all the, the shit I didn't want to do. Go to the grocery store. But then eventually she'll be like, oh, I need a clone, all this work. And so then it's a story of multiplicity.
An army of doves. Yeah.
It's the same all over.
A flock
again.
of doves.
No one should have that power because someone will abuse it.
Nonsense.
I would. That's how I know these things.
It'll be like Jurassic Park. We're going to just militarize all of the clones. Actually, that's not too
See,
bad.
everything is about military. When you have a great sum of something, someone wants to turn it into an army.
Or we just send them all to Mars. Just clone everybody on Earth and then transfer to Mars so that they can colonize it. But that way, by the time we get there, we'll know if we survived or not because our clone will still be alive.
But before that, you don't know anything?
Yeah, like if the clone dies, it's like, I shouldn't have gone up there.
Damn it, my clone does not return any of my calls or my texts.
My clone died here on Earth. He tripped over a landmine they had at NASA. They make them at NASA.
A random landmine.
Because how else are you supposed to get to space?
Not by landmines. I think that's the opposite. You use landmines if you want to make a bunker. Not if you want to rocket yourself off into space.
I don't know. I don't know how science works.
Either way. So, I've decided to get a Go Girl. You remember we were having a conversation about this.
I forgot there's a company that became more popular than Go Girl.
What is it, Piss Pocket? If that isn't a real thing...
Piss Pocket sounds worse, to be honest, because it sounds like you're carrying it with you.
Patent pending. Who says you're not?
It starts with a D. I can't remember it. It might be Dainty Girl. I don't know. Anyways.
A drizzle sack?
Please explain what this is. Because now we're leaving our audience in the dark if they don't know what it is.
So the Go Girl is basically a device for women that it's a funnel.
Yeah.
It's like a silicone, I guess, medical grade funnel that you can use to pee like a man. And
I know, write your name in the snow without your finger. This is science, everyone. We are innovating.
Yeah, women aren't so good at writing things in the snow. We can make a sun, and that's about it.
You make a good Rorschach blot.
all spherical shapes.
Yeah.
Those work. But yeah, so I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I remember all of the times that I had to use a porta potty at concerts or outing events, and it was just the worst experience for me ever.
So this is why you got the Go Girl?
Well, this is why I'm going to get the Go Girl. I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm going to get it. I just think it would be so much easier. But I don't know.
Candy bar.
Some curvaceous brown woman.
Sorry, that sounds like a hero? Like a super. We were just talking about Batman. I'm like,
curvaceous brown woman.
Ooh, she's so sassy.
I come to you with the power of sass. She has like a flip flop.
Yeah. Oh my god. This is. I don't know how racist this is.
Probably very. But, you know, I know a lot. I have a lot of round brown ladies in my family. So.
I do too, sort of. But
Okay,
I mean,
so how's it racist? It's not racist just because you talk about people.
okay, we're back on the air now because I can't hear them anymore. Because I feel like that would have been a good conversation, but
it still could be.
No, because there's no context for it.
It's still there. Well, we were talking about the sounds that we heard.
Yeah.
In the background.
Okay.
Of being interrupted. Anyway, so.
This is a long ass episode already.
No, it isn't. Because I need to go. So it's not long. So I think it would be so much better to use the Go Girl instead of worrying about, like pants and trying to pull the. Women have such a hard time using porta potties.
Can I just say, I think rompers are the worst idea to wear at, any public festival or concert event. Because don't you have to just strip down completely naked, essentially, to use the bathroom?
Yeah. You basically have to. And just the thought of having to pull your clothes, whatever it is, panties, whatever. You know what you wear.
Yeah.
So
I know what I wear, and I know what ladies wear. Ladies.
So just imagining having to pull all of this clothing down past your thighs and, obviously not guys. But
no, I've taken a dump in a porta potty before.
What? You had? Oh, okay. Wait. Let me finish. Let me finish this, and then you tell me about that.
Okay.
Well,
good stories coming up.
Oh, wow. So yeah, I just the thought of having to pull your clothes down past your thighs and possibly accidentally having the clothes touch
anything
at all. The last thing that you want to have is someone else's pee stains on your clothes.
There's a consistent black griminess in the corners of every porta potty.
I don't look that much. I don't.
You just go in blindfolded?
No, I don't.
This is why it's sprayed everywhere.
No, I don't go in blindfolded, but I don't go checking for the cleanliness of everything.
I do.
It's really like you have to suspend all disbelief. You have to have one thought in your mind, and that's just eliminating eliminating your bladder, and that's about it.
This might just be the area, but I feel like the cleanliest porta potties are the ones run by petting zoos that are also pumpkin patch /
pumpkin patch porta potties.
Yeah, those pumpkin patch porta potties. Wow,
those are the best pumpkin patch porta potties. Pumpkin patch porta potties.
So sensual. Oh, yeah.
I've never used one of those.
Don't take a shit in a pumpkin patch porta potty. Woo!
What I mostly think is that anytime I go out to an event that has porta potties, it's okay, let me use a regular restroom before so that I don't have to use the porta potties.
Okay.
I never go anywhere saying, well, if I have to go, I'm so glad these porta potties are here. It's I do everything so that I don't have to use the porta potties. But when heavy drinking is involved. When heavy drinking is involved, you can't really
Do you think you would have the wherewithal
decide everything.
when you're that drunk to be like, I'm going to use this Go Girl? Or are you going to be more like, fuck it, fuck everything?
No, because I've been totally trashed at an event and still have had to use a porta potty, and
No.
and it's worse to like keep everything together, like your clothing,
Yeah.
without touching anything.
I mean,
but what were you
just
gonna
stop
say?
wearing ballroom dresses.
It's difficult not to. I mean, there's an event. It's like, oh shit, how many opportunities am I going to get to wear this ball gown? So
Yeah.
I got to do it now. But no, you were going to say something before.
I don't remember what it was.
Damn, sorry.
So I'm just going to lead into my poop story.
Oh yeah.
It's not really much of a story. Essentially, when I was a Boy Scout, they had these porta potties set up for everybody. The only flushing bathrooms that they had were all the way back at the cafeteria, and this was an emergency because I had been holding it in for 3 days because I didn't want to at all.
I used to
And-
do that as a kid.
Yeah. This is a week-long camping trip, so...
Oh, not poop for a week.
Yeah, it
Damn.
was like late at night.
Well, 3 days.
Yeah, and I just didn't want to. But yeah, it hit me hard late at night.
Oh,
so.
I bet. Did it explode out?
It came out like as like one solid chunk. It had time to marinate and just clump together from the days.
Well, good
Mom,
for you.
stop listening.
Good for you. Because if I would have waited 3 days, I can't tell you what would have happened.
Yeah. So,
Explosions.
like, the scariest part was hearing how far it had to drop. Cause,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because these were not like porta-johns. These were just kind of, well, they're called latrines.
Platforms
Yeah.
with holes.
Yeah, pretty much. So, and it, like, that's how long it took. It was like sploosh.
So long.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's far. So the next morning, I wake up, and one of the other campers, we were just talking, and he had mentioned that one of the camp counselors took a dump the other night, and a wolf spider had bitten him in the ass. And
Whoa.
I did not know that. And here I was, just laying a huge deuce in the middle of the night where nobody was around, and I could have had my ass eaten by a spider.
No one wants to have their ass eaten by a spider.
And not in the good old Texas way.
And a wolf spider at that?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it would have been rough.
Those are the ones where if you kill them and you know, they were pregnant, I guess. Like,
They just explode spiders.
yeah, all of the babies just explode
I
out
think
of
that's
it.
all spiders.
No.
Yeah, there's definitely some spiders that carry like egg sacs on
Well,
them.
I guess that makes sense
Yeah.
if there is an egg sac, but I don't know why wolf spiders are so notorious for exploding babies upon death.
That's the ultimate last maneuver.
It is. My spawn will end you. Just like a 1,000 spiders just erupt from a spider abdomen. Thorax? Spider ass.
I think, yeah. That I was about to say, just say spider ass. We aren't on the science part of the podcast spectrum.
Not in this episode.
Landmines get us to space.
Not in this episode. Next episode we may turn it up a bit, but
Really?
not in this. I can go science.
Turned up.
I can go science. I make wine. I'm a mad scientist at heart.
That's fair enough.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get.
My ass eaten.
Yeah, glad you didn't get.
Ladies.
Your ass eaten by the wolf spider
Uh-huh.
and her thousands of babies.
Yeah.
That
was a
would
good-
suck.
That was the one time I used the bathroom. Next time, after hearing that story, I was like, no, I'm saving up for the flushing bathrooms. And
Ooh.
yeah.
Well,
at
at least
the
it was
cafeteria.
at least it was one of those I guess latrines or whatever that had some distance between all of the filth.
Because I know why spiders like putting a lot of their webbing in there. It's because a lot of flies hang around human fecal matter, and that hole is kind of the perfect.
Fecal matter. We just said that we were not going to do science this episode. It's good old shit.
I forgot what show it was, but my friend was telling me like there's this great sketch segment where it's like Fecal Matters with John Fecal. And it's like a show about his topics, but he ended up just talking about poop anyways. But yeah, so there's a lot of flies that just kind of like hang around that area, so it's like the perfect place for a spider to just set up camp and like get some dinner.
Wow.
Dinner at the old poop hole.
That makes sense, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, porta potty's not my thing.
It's like an old country kitchen buffet for spiders.
Oh, man. Just a lot of images running through my mind, and I don't like any of them.
So have you ever been to what are they called? Golden Corral.
Unfortunately, I think I have once.
Did you go when they had the chocolate fountain?
No, I did not.
So when the chocolate fountains first started being pushed out at Golden Corral, it was unsupervised. So chocolate fountains, as you know, are notoriously disease havens.
Because people shove their hands in it?
Yeah.
Why are people doing that?
Because they're gross.
Okay.
But I saw one kid who basically had a fried chicken wing. No, like it was a huge drumstick. A huge fried chicken drumstick. Just dunk it into the chocolate fountain.
Ooh.
And then the pressure got too much and he dropped it in there and he just left it.
Oh, no.
So there's just this huge fried chicken drumstick that's just floating around in this chocolate fountain. So,
chicken and chocolate. Well, at least it was food. I mean, it could have been boogers or...
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if this kid's hands are clean. I don't know why
crumplets from scratching his bum.
Yeah. From my understanding, they are now supervised, and you have to hand the guy the thing you want covered in
Your
chocolate.
chicken?
Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, you could probably still hand him a piece of chicken. You'd be like, what the fuck? Whatever. I'm only paid minimum wage. I don't care.
Dunk the chicken in the chocolate.
Yeah.
Move it along, sir. I can see you doing that.
That is my dream job. Chocolate fountain operator.
Good show.
On Mars.
On Mars?
Yeah. Dream job on Mars. Chocolate fountain operator.
I don't know if it will work. Wouldn't the gravity just make it just like floating chocolate balls
We've
in the
discussed
atmosphere?
this in The Office, but yeah, The Martian was a documentary, and I think Matt Damon proved that the gravity is fine up there. Science.
All right. Well, we'll take Matt Damon's word for it then.
Yeah, we will.
Oh, so you said you went to see a movie this weekend.
How dare you do this to me? You said you got one.
Oh!
So I saw a movie over the weekend.
Trick!
How dare you convince me for more content?
He had a dancing back and forth, doing the what would this be called? Like an elbow dance?
I don't know. That's kind of become like the new Pennywise kind of dance.
Oh, Pennywise was doing this dance?
I think he was in the new It.
Oh, that's creepy. You know what? I have not seen it yet.
Really? Why?
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
I haven't seen
by
it
myself.
I haven't seen it
in the
either.
dark. Lights out. I don't know. I think it was just a movie that I knew that I was going to see and just didn't get around to. For clown movies, I have to psych myself up for them. Like recently, I guess a few months ago, I finally rewatched Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Matt Damon.
But I had to psych myself up to do that.
Wait, I don't think the audience knows about your fear of clowns.
Well, now they do because you just said it. So.
Well, you were just dancing around the bush. So,
oh, was I?
Yeah. I beat it. I didn't beat around the bush. I got that bush. So.
Right.
Yeah. About clowns.
No, it's not about clowns. We were finished with that. You have to tell me about the movie that you saw this weekend.
Fine. We can talk about your phobias later. Wait till the next Power Hour. All right. We'll talk about our fears. Next Power Hour.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
We're just workshopping a new episode for you right here, you guys.
We'll schedule that offline. Yeah. I'm into that. Please continue.
Okay. So I saw A Wrinkle in Time.
Oh, you know what? I actually tried listening to the audiobook. Couldn't get into it because I said, know what? I don't know. It was slow getting to the
action
point and painting a picture with the characters. When I'm listening to an audiobook, like I have to know what the characters look like, where they are in space, where they are.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because it's hard to figure out where they are in space.
Yeah, but just like where they are in their environment compared to other people. Like, is this real world today? Is this back in time? Is this, a different dimension? So
Especially for an audiobook.
for an audiobook,
Yeah.
I needed to paint a picture so that I can visualize everything. Otherwise, I get bored because I don't know why I care about this, who the characters are, where they are, what they look like, what clothes they're wearing, and why they're doing anything that they're doing.
Can I just say, I had a similar experience with Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. I thought it was going to be an awesome kick-ass thrill ride.
The book or the film?
The book. And turns out it's like about newspapers and like a law procedural. I mean, there's some action here and there, but like it takes a while to get to. By a while, in audiobook terms, that's like, I think I listened to about 5 minutes and I couldn't stand it.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
pretty short.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
It's just
I don't know. I think that's probably subjective because I wait an hour into an audiobook. That's a lot. That's
no, that's giving a lot
like
of
5-6 chapters, depending on how they have it set up. And so at that point, I feel as if I don't like it an hour in, I'm just not going to get anything from it.
I just couldn't pay attention because the reader for Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was just kind of dry and boring.
Ooh.
So like, and he's going through something dry and boring kind of at the first couple pages because it's about a court case and newspapers, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about any of this.
That's such an unfortunate thing, though. When you have an audiobook, you're so dependent upon that reader to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
They're doing everything for you. When we sit down and we read books, we visualize everything in our heads based on, our experiences or what we think a character should sound like.
Definitely.
And so it's easier, I think, for us to get into a book because we're using parts of our own imagination versus listening to someone else be these characters. There's tons of times where I totally shut books off after the 5-minute mark. So I
Yeah.
have done that before just because the person that's reading the book is not doing it justice at all.
Yeah.
It could be a very good book. So that's the unfortunate thing. If you have a very good book, well written, and you have a really bad reader for it,
Yeah.
it completely ruins it. But however, it doesn't quite work, at least it hasn't for me worked the opposite way of where you have a really good reader and then the story is shit.
That's a rare occurrence.
It's rare.
Yeah.
Maybe it's happened to me once where I would stick with a book longer than I normally would have, saying, oh man, this reader's really great. I have no idea what they're talking about, but they
Wait.
sound fantastic.
Actually, I might have an example of a shit story, but a good reader. It was a dragon romance novel that I had downloaded because it was for free with another book. I was like, why the hell not?
Man,
It was going to be hilarious.
Dragon romance.
Yeah, I was waiting for a hilarious story. It is not as high-paced, high-act octane. You'd think like there'd be a hook, like a movie, like something to drag you into the world. No, it was just all kinds of goofy. And this lady who was kind of a decent reader, she had specific voices to parse out, so I could figure
I
out
like
which
that.
character is which.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like the story was just, I feel like I accidentally entered the third book of like a series, and they're talking about characters I should know, and I'm like, I have no idea who you are.
So you just didn't know
Yeah.
what was happening.
I
in
shouldn't
there.
have read that book first, probably, of that series.
Wait, so you did actually read the third book in?
I didn't know it was a third book in.
Oh, okay. You didn't know it was a third book in.
Yeah, and
That's a hard place to start, especially
Yeah.
with the romance. Romance, most of them are written by women. A lot of them are really dry.
I don't know. There's one woman writer who I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she writes like a dude. I totally think it's a dude who put a woman's name so that
Probably.
he could.
They do that all the time. Pen
But like
names.
the descriptions of some of the characters I remember, there were excerpts like spread out online, and even the storylines were hilariously bad. But one of the descriptions of the male characters was like hot as balls. Like, oh, this dude, he's hot as balls. Like, period. Like, next sentence. Moving on. It was like, usually most women romance writers would like talk lovingly about the specific descriptions. Now, this guy's hot as balls. That's all you need to know. We're going forward. Apparently, it's about a
very
time traveling
specific.
Viking who goes back in time to do something. It was super stupid. I want to know who this writer is. Anyways, A Wrinkle in Time was not like that. It is not about a time traveling Viking who romances some lady.
Oh.
Oh, it's a time traveling Viking / FBI agent.
That was the book.
Yeah, that was just one section of the book, and
A
he had a
lady
team.
didn't write that book.
No, that's why I'm like, no, a dude totally wrote that book.
I'm reading the books that the ladies are writing.
Yeah.
And right now I'm listening to vampire porn, essentially. It's very
Is it Twilight?
Oh no. I will never ever listen to Twilight. No, it's not Twilight. I can't remember the first book in the series, but the main character her name is Anita. So Anita Vampire Hunter or something like that. And I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with the books because
Is her last name Big Cock?
no, they do have her
Anita
last
Big
name
Cock?
in there. No. It's really not actual porn, but it's the closest because it's all of these erotic vampire things. And I don't think I'm going to stick with it because I mostly like books that are either heavy drama or
Have hunky guys in a dystopia.
which would be heavy drama or very action oriented. So I've listened to
Those
books
hunky
where
dystopias.
I've listened to books where they are vampires in the books. However, they're vicious. You know, they're killing and they're murdering and things like that. And even though that does happen in this book, it isn't the main focus. The main focus is the romance between this woman, this vampire hunter, and another vampire. And so there's male vampire strippers and other things like
sounds
that.
fun.
And well, that part was fun. Oh, and they're were-rats too.
Like rats that turn into werewolves, or
No, humans that turn into rats.
how? Like, do they just end up being big rats, or do they actually turn in? Does their body compress and become tiny rats?
Their bodies compress. They're not huge people-sized rats. They're almost
That
about
doesn't
normal
make
size.
any
It doesn't
sense.
make any. There's a lot of things in this, but it was written. This first book in the series was written in 1993.
No excuses.
There's a lot of that's true. There's a lot of things in it that doesn't make sense, but it's essentially.
I can picture the 1890s.
Well,
Will Smith was out and about hanging around with Carlton. There's no way you could tell me that Will Smith turns into like a tiny rat and Carlton's like, oh, little buddy. I don't know where I'm going with this.
yeah, really. You know I don't like Will Smith right now.
You don't? Was it because
No.
of Bright?
I stopped liking him before Bright.
I didn't know you had a Will Smith aversion.
No, I mean I don't hate him like I do M. Night Shyamalan, but
I mean, he wasn't an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I stopped liking him before that. It's just a kind of a thing where I don't know, like I guess if you can imagine like a relative that comes to live with you through whatever life circumstances,
What did Will Smith do to
and
you?
you can't, and you kind of can't wait for them to get their life back together and go home. So you just basically you've seen too much of this person, and you don't want to see him for a while.
Woo!
That's how I feel about Will Smith. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So anyway, about A Wrinkle in Time.
So this is, I don't know if you audience can understand how much I dislike this movie. The fact that I'm skating around and not wanting to talk about it.
Well, you can just say that.
I-
Variations of that.
I disliked this movie.
So you didn't like it.
So I won't fault it for any of the following points. Like, I think the visuals were well done. I think some of the directing was well done. Their choices and everything were, for the most part, okay.
Choices as far as the cast or
Yeah, as far as like cast, what they wanted to do with that cast, and decisions they made in the story, I think are okay. Where it gets really gummed up is it is an old book that was written in like the 50s, 60s, and a lot of it is now kind of stereotypical tropes, even though it invented those tropes. But I feel like to really respect the book, you might have to update them, and they didn't update it at all. And there's a lot of things with the script that they should have changed and updated to make it flow better, for one, because it's super jumbled and all over the place. And two, just to update the script, because there's a lot of characters who really just pop into place just to say, you're amazing, you're great, you're beautiful.
oh, I need that in real life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that works for real life. But in a movie, like where this happens, it's very awkward and is completely unwarranted. So everything I'm not one to call a movie a Mary Sue movie, if you're familiar with that term.
Tell me about that term for those who are unfamiliar with it.
Okay.
Such
So
as myself.
So Mary Sue is what a lot of people have come to describe things where it's basically where a woman who's the main character, is somehow the best, greatest, and all these things, but is also hampered by something. Like she doesn't believe in herself, but everybody is like doting on her, and she's the best, and all this stuff. Some people would call the Star Wars Force Awakens a Mary Sue movie because she is somehow immediately amazing at the Force. Some people would call Twilight a Mary Sue because she's somehow like attractive to all these men and something like that. And I'm not one to call a movie a Mary Sue movies. I think for the most part, Mary Sue movies are just regular guy movies because that happens to a lot of guys. Like Luke Skywalker's amazing at the Force almost instantly also. Like there's a lot of like things where it's like regular guys have that stereotype also, but when a woman does it, it's all of a sudden a Mary Sue, like whatever. But this one I will call Mary Sue explicitly because they directly say, hey, you're amazing. You can do this. And she's done nothing to warrant any of that. If anything, she comes up with a dumb idea to do the Indiana Jones thing of like they're in a hurricane. She's like, let's get into this log. And somehow it launches them and they land safely without a scratch inside this log. So does that. There's a lot of problems with the movie. There's a super annoying kid in that movie. He's Filipino. I can make fun of him forever because he's Filipino and he's my boy. But dude, fuck that kid. He was hella annoying, and he doesn't necessarily have the talent to, because he's young. He doesn't have necessarily like the talent to. There's a twist in the story, and he becomes a character. He becomes absorbed by some form of darkness or whatever. And while it's kind of creepy, it also doesn't work because he only knows how to speak in one tone, which is obnoxiously loud and obnoxiously like optimistic, even when he's trying to say something evil or defying. He's just such a sugary, sweet character that it's hard to see that character do other things.
Do you hate him because that sounds like you? Super sugary sweet.
Am I? Am I really sweet?
He could never play a bad guy.
Oh, I'm hating this movie, so technically I'm a bad guy for anybody who likes this movie. Which is fine. You can like this movie all you want. You could like it for its choice in characters, its diversity, its director who, does a decent job with what she's got. But yeah, like overall, like how the script is written and how it flows all together, it's bad. It's super bad. I give it a like D.
Dang.
Like if I was to have to give it a grade.
Well, I mean, I can't disagree with you. I haven't seen the movie, but I did try to listen to the book, and it was a hard listen.
Talk to me on Twitter about it.
Yeah.
I'll fight anybody on Twitter.
If you do, that's fine. Oh, you'll fight on Twitter?
Yeah. I've been, mostly just using the Twitter to outlet all my fears and hopes and dreams.
Well, we're going to save those fears for...
the Power Hour. Next Power Hour.
Our upcoming episodes.
Yeah. You can go ahead and contact us on Twitter. We are at Uncouth Tangents. You can visit our site and see all of our episodes. I actually didn't know this, but if you are getting our feed from iTunes, it only goes back a certain amount of episodes. So if you want to see our episode 1 and earlier ones, you can go to our website, uncouth-tangents.com.
I didn't know that. That's a great update because that sucks for anyone that wanted to go back further to the beginning. Thanks for sticking around this long.
Yeah, they are archived up there. And yeah, if you're a new listener, go ahead and check them out on our site, or you can check them out on our Podbean, which is way too long for me to say here.
That's fine.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out.
HTTP.
No! No more.
All right. I'll see you guys later. Love you.
Bye.
not nearly enough. Considering a solid 5, we're just us being like, is that good? Is that noise here?